Hi and welcome to the SohoLIFF Spotlights. I'm Liz Farahadi and I am so excited today because we have got Jack Cooper Stimpson, who is here with his beautiful film Spirited Place. Oh my God, it's just stunning. It is so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I mean, congratulations.
Thanks.
For people watching, without giving the story away, could you tell them a little bit of what it's about?
Yeah, of course. I'm not very good at talking about the film. This is always quite challenging, but I'm doing to give you my best shot at this. The film is about two young people, Athol and Edward, who live in London, sort of inner city environments, urban environments, and they visit their local wetland centre as a kind of place to escape and hang out and kind of watch the birds and chat. And it's a sort of basis for their friendship. And then Athol makes a discovery. She discovers something in the wetlands and it changes her entire relationship with the place, and her relationship with Edward is kind of threatened in that process. And it's a very small kind of contained journey that they both go on. They meet some sort of funny, interesting people along the way. The film kind of explores themes of access to nature, how important those spaces are in London and any city in the world, the importance of wetlands as well as like these amazing environments that kind of hoover up carbon and are just incredible. I'm not an expert on that, but really interesting stuff there. And identity, sexual identity, and lots of other kind of quite big things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in it, yet it's so lovely to watch. And I mean, I have to mention, you've got quite a small actor in it, Mark Rylance, was it?
Hadn't heard of him before. I love to support up and coming actors with my films, so I was very happy to give him a chance.
How did you get Mark Rylance involved?
In all seriousness, it was obviously just a complete honour and very special to have an actor of that kind of calibre. And Mark is the only actor I've ever had on any kind of bucket list to be like, one day.
Oh, he's on all our bucket lists.
Exactly. So it was sort of the end of lockdown. I was exploring these themes more, nature and environment, and Mark wrote an article about sort of National Nature Service, and he had this idea for a project, and he was starting to talk about some of the same themes that I was very interested in and starting to explore. And I thought, oh, why not? I'll just get an email to him, get a script to him, just try and offer out the olive branch. And because it was lockdown, there was that time to do that, and I thought, well, now's probably quite a good chance. I know that he's not going to be filming. Long story short, managed to get something to him, and he responded, said he really liked the writing, was interested. And then I can't remember the exact timeline, but basically for about a year, there was this sort of very gentle, very kind of creatively led back and forth between me and him, where he was really interested in the writing, but he wanted to reposition the film and talk about wetlands because it hadn't been announced at the time, but Mark was about to become an ambassador for the Wetlands Trust. And so he was really keen to kind of, I think my original script was set in a forest environment. It was like all about trees and forests. And he said, well, I think it'd be more interesting if we talk about wetlands for, a plethora of reasons, because they are underrepresented and haven't really been on film before, really.
No, they haven't actually.
And if they are in film, it's usually quite a negative associations, like bogs, swamps. It's like where people get lost and die, and they're quite negative. So that was very much part of the conversation. And together we worked on the script, and in the meantime I got the finance and kind of brought the project together, and Mark was kind of okaying the scripts, and it was just such a lovely special experience to be collaborating with him.
What an amazing experience to do.
Really special.
And I mean, did you have to do a lot of research on the marshlands as well? Wetlands.
Wetlands. Well, no, it is bogs and marshes and swamps. It's everything. I read kind of everything I get my hands on, and we worked with WWT, the Wildfire and Wetlands Trust, who are obviously the people who kind of protect and preserve and promote those spaces. And Tom Fewens there became a sort of real ally for me and Mark. If we ever had questions, we would go to Tom, what's this, and can you explain this to us? And we got a lot of input from WWT in terms of the importance of the spaces. But the film's not a documentary. It's obviously a narrative piece, so it was always going to be story led, and we wanted to make sure it was character first, and then all the other stuff kind of brought into the mix. But it was about 6 months of, and going to the spaces as well, like visiting the wetlands and walking around, just being there and noticing things and talking to people. And it was really lovely time, actually. It was really special. It was very zen and calm, just walking around wetlands, sort of dreaming up things.
Oh, what a lovely project. So let's talk about the characters. So the two characters, the two protagonists,
Yep.
they've got a very different relationship, I suppose, with the wetlands, haven't they?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, Athel and Edward are the protagonists, and in a kind of nutshell, I think it's simplest to think of them both as what they represent within the context of the environment. So I think Athel is a young woman, and to us, really felt like she was the water. She was like this sort of malleable, free-flowing, ever-changing kind of character. She changes a lot throughout the course of the film. She, as I say, she makes this discovery, and that raises a lot of questions for her and a lot of concerns, and it's quite a sort of, not troubling, but there are issues there for her, and she has a lot to kind of overcome during the course of the film. And yeah, she felt like water to us, and then Edward is a little bit more grounded and solid, so he kind of represents the solid ground in the kind of wetland environments. And wetlands are wet and land. They are literally these two things combined, so that it's how the two characters kind of bounce off of each other and support each other and coexist, even though they're quite different. And there's a line in the film, without any spoilers, but there's a little kind of nod to that. They're an odd pair. There's a sort of acknowledgement of that they don't, on paper, you might not associate these two people together, but they're really close, and they understand each other, and they love each other. They care about each other. Yeah.
It's a really lovely relationship, actually. It's because you feel it, and the conflict as well that's sort of mingled in.
Yeah.
And of course, when she makes her discovery, that leads to a meeting and all of that, and there's a lot of mystery in there.
Yeah.
Was that also something you set out to do, to create something that had mystery? Can't think of another word for that.
No, yeah, mystery. It's a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, definitely. That was very much the ambition, and part of the conversations with Mark and all of the creative team are very much like, we're not going to, it's never going to have a sort of solid conclusion. There's not like a resolution necessarily at the end of the film. In fact, I think there are so many things left unanswered, and it is a bit of a mystery. And obviously it's an object that Athel discovers. It's a physical thing that she finds, and we're not even sure if that's real. Is that part of her imagination? I'm not particularly interested in answering those questions as a filmmaker, because I feel like I like the films that give you these big things and allow you to figure it out. We don't want to be stingy about that. We want to make sure audiences feel kind of looked after and understand it and know what we're talking about. But mystery, intrigue, and kind of a quirkiness, I suppose, in terms of there are things falling from the sky and lots of other weird things that happen. Like, it is quite an odd film, I'm aware, but
oh no, it's beautiful. And and you don't, I mean, it's when you watch films where everything's answered for you and it's all on the nose, that it's just kind of like
yeah, totally.
So this is not that at all. It's lovely.
Oh, good. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah. Oh no, I loved it. We all did. So for yourself, the sort of the personal interest, because you've done sort of like environmental activism yourself as well, haven't you?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So how has that kind of gone alongside the film?
Yeah, environmentalism and climate themes are kind of totally integral to my work. So most of the films I make, in some way, shape or form, are kind of addressing the climate crisis, either very directly or indirectly. And I'm just really interested in, like, how do you convey this impossibly big situation and an issue, but without alienating people. And also, like, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a politician. Filmmaking is the only thing I'm good at. So actually, I'm not coming to the table necessarily with like answers, but there are things that I feel really clearly help and can help people kind of think about these issues and feel a little bit closer to finding comfort, or just feeling less kind of left out in the cold, I guess, with it. So it's been a big part of my work for a really long time now. I've made films about activism, directly about sort of Extinction Rebellion and protest groups, and it's been fascinating to kind of learn about that, and not necessarily to be like, that's the right thing, that's not what you should be doing, but it's just to talk about it as, the characters involved in these places. And it's just a wonderful challenge, really. And then Spirit Place is a little bit more nature based. It's not really activism. I suppose I don't really call myself an environmental activist anymore. I consider myself to be more of an environmental campaigner. And I loved working with WWT and supporting them and allowing their expertise to shine through and using the film as a way to draw attention to really important causes. Because I'm not the expert on these things.
But I mean, this is why films are great, because they're such a powerful way of giving people a chance to walk in somebody else's shoes or see things from a different perspective without it being sort of rammed down your throat or specifically looking for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with the sustainability thing, how did that work with making the film? Did you find yourself, making differences with that to try and make the film greener?
Yeah, it was from day one. Obviously, that was paramount, that we had to address that and make sure that it was we were shooting in the most sustainable way possible. So there was a lot of kind of preparation and a lot of kind of responding on the day, sort of during physical production, and even it went all the way into post-production. I mean, we obviously did the obvious things like kind of cutting down on our plastic usage and the food available on set, the on-set catering, not relying on sort of lots of meat products and dairy products and very obvious things like that.
Yeah.
But then there was also the energy consumption issues. We didn't have lights for any of the shoots, which obviously kind of cuts down your energy usage a lot. And obviously shooting in wetlands as well. This is like a natural habitat, and there are animals living there, and you can't just bring in cars and generators and things and expect that to work. That's just not going to, you're going to leave a footprint. And we wanted to kind of leave no trace kind of mentality. We were also the first production to use Equity's new Green Rider, which is more for talent, and it allows talent to step away from kind of the old-fashioned contracts which promote like sort of solo travel in cars and lots of things that drive up a carbon footprint on production. Sometimes those things are completely necessary, but quite often talent don't really need it or want it. So we were really happy to use the Green Rider for all of our talent. I think every single actor on the project used it, and that really helped. And it creates an ethos on set where everyone's aware of their carbon footprint. We're not challenging people. We're not judging people, but if you can catch the tube to work in the morning, which people could do on our project because that was possible, then fantastic. That's a really good thing to do. So we haven't solved climate change, but we've definitely helped progress the conversation just a little bit in terms of greening the industry a little bit. Yeah.
And how would you say that affected the budget? Did it save money?
Yeah, there were certainly savings. So obvious things like lighting. So your kit list drops by a lot, a certain percentage disappears there, which is obviously fantastic. And those some of those slightly sort of less carbon intensive alternatives are just cheaper. It's more of I think the cost is admin, and just the industry is not currently set up to facilitate those conversations very well, so it adds time. So me and my producers, Lewis and Izzy, the back and forth with kit houses, talent agents, that does increase, but I think that's a very small cost to pay. And as I say, once you get that over the line and everyone's kind of singing from the same green hymn sheet, then you kind of feel there's so much satisfaction in the air with that, and it's worth the cost of the extra emailing, I think.
We could have a few extra emails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's fine.
And what's the plan with the film now?
So we're on the festival circuit. We're so pleased to be a part of your festival, I should mention. We've heard such warm, glowing reviews of the festival. So when the email came through, it was a real victory. We're doing festivals at the moment. We're having an awards campaign. We've qualified for the BAFTAs, BIFTAs and Academy Awards.
Amazing.
Which is really exciting for the whole team, and because there's a fantastic cause behind the film and I think a really pertinent message, I'm really happy to kind of go, let's try and be a part of those conversations to whatever degree we can. If, we get some of the way or half the way or whatever, that's fantastic. But it was never the objective of the film to win awards. That wasn't what we were trying to do.
But it helps give it a platform, doesn't it? It helps get people to see it. It
does, yeah. And then hopefully it will come out at some point next year once festivals have completed. On the Edge, who produced the film, are a fantastic multimedia company who focus on nature-based storytelling. So I'm sure they've got plans of releasing and stuff. But for now, my focus is just supporting the film, talking about it as much as possible, and singing everyone's praises who worked on the film, because it
Amazing,
was a great bunch.
amazing. Well, we are so excited to be screening this.
Thanks.
So you have to see this. It's such a beautiful film, Spirit of Place, and it's going to be screening in January 2025 at the SohoLIFF, and you cannot miss it. Thank you so much for coming here and chatting about it
Thank
today.
you. Such a pleasure. Yeah.